So welcome back to my channel. So I've just woken up and it looks really nice outside. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to buy some compost, have a little look around at some of the things that they've got in one of the stores, and then pop to the plot, pick up a few things, do a few jobs, and then I'll pop back here and we'll sow the onions and get that job done. Let's tick that off. So I've popped over to the local B&Q, which is just around the corner from me. And I thought what I'd do is I'll have a look at the compost, and for some reason there just didn't seem to be that much of a selection. It's probably because it's the start of the year. So then I looked at the pot and mixes and I found one that was, you know, smaller size, but I thought it might be okay. There's the vermiculite that I normally add to it, 50-50 mix. I think I've got some already in the shed, so I'll go and have a check for that first, but I'm pretty sure I've still got some. These though, however, these look like amazing trays, and there's the lids that go with them as well, and they're pretty good price, to be honest. I noticed that they got some smaller ones there, and I know I've already bought a pile of my, my propagators already, but these ones, these little small ones here, I just thought that they might be a perfect size for me. And this is the one that I was thinking about getting. It's called the Super 7. It looks really, really good, but because I've got so many already, I wish I'd seen that beforehand. And it seems to be a pretty good, price. And I had a little gander at the seed as well, because I've got 2 brown onions and 1 red. And I noticed that they've got a red one here called Carmen. So I thought about it for a few minutes, and it didn't take long before I started picking one up. And now I've got 2 red and, 2 brown onions ready to sow, later on today. So I called back at the compost again because I remembered that there was another section, and I look at it, it looks pretty good, I must admit. It will need sifting, but I gotta be honest, it looked pretty good. I then thought I'd get this bag, and then I thought I may as well get a bigger bag. And looking at it, it was an extra £2 for the larger one, so I just picked up the larger one, and I'm sure I'll use it on the plot. So while leaving the garden centre area to go back to the tills, I noticed that they had these plastic boxes on the side as well, and with a few holes put through them. If you've already got one at home and you want to save a few quid, these would be perfect for a bit of propagation. Your seeds would love it inside there as long as they've got some good ventilation. So I'm at the grapevine plot and I've got a few little jobs to do. I've got a bird box to put up and a little bird house as well, and they're more for the blue tits that fly around this area, and there's been a bit of a decrease in them the last couple of years, so I'm hoping that by adding these habitats for them, it'll increase the population on this site. So that's the plan today. I'm going to pop them up. The one was hanging up like a ball. I think I posted on my Instagram, but I've decided because of the wind that comes up in this area, it came with a bracket, so I'm going to fit it to the shed now. Well, I'm going to put it in between the pot-in shed and the coop, so hopefully, and then I'm going to put the other one on the tool shed. So let's get that done. So I fitted it up, and I think it looks lovely. It does look a bit like a camera, but I really do like it. And I'll put a link in the description for this that got sent to me, and I absolutely love it. But I also put up a bird house as well. Good thing about this as well is it comes from Green and Blue, a company, and they also do the bee bricks as well, which I'll show you in a minute on my other plot. And I've got a project coming up for those. But the good thing about this is that it'll never rot. You can clean it out. And the good thing about it, you can build this into a new build house or a wall, and it'll last a lifetime. So that's what I love about these products. They are on the pricey side, but they last forever and you'll never have to replace them. So I love that they're also, they're thinking about, introducing pets into your home, and like the birds will love it as well because they'll be part of the structure, and they'll take a bit of heat as well. So I'm loving them. So the kale is looking absolutely lovely now, and I'm just so happy with it. This is the emerald kale. It's growing slower than I hoped, but I'm still taking leaves off. I've taken quite a few off now the outside, and this area really needs a good bit of work now. Winter really does knock it. I did put some netting over this to keep the birds and stuff off, but the wind has wrecked it here this year. And this bed, God, I don't know what's happened here. I don't know. I'm going to show you the warts and all as well, and I've got some sage here that I need to plant today. And yeah, it's not looking the best, I gotta be honest, but winter does that. That's the realism of allotment life. So a few days ago, one of the neighbouring allotment sites got broken into, and everyone had their tools taken, expensive tools, generators, things like that. Like, we don't tend to leave that stuff on our plots. And my advice is, if you can easily replace it, keep it on your plot. If you can't, and you know that it'd be a financial burden if you lost it, just take it home, you know, just take it home. And as sad as we have to do that, it's the best thing to do. So what I did was I took all my tools off my plot that were really expensive, and I unlocked all the sheds. And it sounds like a drastic thing to do, but they're going to smash into your shed anyway, so it's better if they just open it up, have a look inside, see that there's nothing in there valuable, and they go on. But sucks, but we have to do it. But fingers crossed there's something happened yet. Also, while we're on the subject of sites and plots, so sadly Nigel, one of the plot holders, has left, and it's so sad to see his plot now like this, because he had such a lovely no-dig natural plot. And I'll show you around now quickly. So all this in the summer would be full of strawberries, onions, and he had everything growing in it, absolutely everything. It looks like they've taken one of the sheds down now and cleared up here. Something's gone, like they've cleared up some stuff here by the looks. Yeah, it's all, they must be clearing it up, ready for the next plot holders. They don't take long to fill these sites, but you can see there's some rhubarb growing up now and quite a few kales. But yeah, and it has this nice little homemade polytunnel as well, which I love. And that's been up for donkey's years. And it's got ventilation in the back as well. But yeah, I'm sure whoever takes over this plot will be extremely lucky, because it's quite well kept, and it's even got a greenhouse. And he's decided that he's given it up because he wants to do a lot of travelling. And so if you're watching this, Nigel, best of luck, and I'm sure you'll be back one day taking over another plot. The one thing I love about allotments as well is we have a little bit of a joke and banter, but you know, you can have no dig beds here, and right next to it, my neighbouring plot is traditional beds, dug in manure. You know, the whole hog is really, you know, traditional, and they have amazing crops as well. But we share back and forth, and there's no, you know, there's no malice about the no dig method or the dig method. So, you know, whichever way you go, you know, I'm sure you all get on well about it, and just garden. So I'm sorry that I haven't put a video out for the last couple of weeks, and I did do a live the other day, so if you haven't seen it, go and take a look at that. But I filmed it, I took it over, and it was such a lovely video as well of all Christmas, and yeah, the file's corrupted. So I've come over today, I'm going to do a little bit of tidying, and then get home and sow those onion seeds, because it needs to be done. I like to do it in January, and it gives it a bit of a time then, just in case if they fail, I've got time for sets later on. But fingers crossed, this year I'm going to get some onions from seed. So I've collected a dibber, and I've got my tulips I still haven't put in, so I'm going to head up now to the fig and olive plot, pop them in, because they, you know, you need to get them in, and this is one of the last chances, and they are starting to sprout a little bit. So I've got a dibber, and I'm going to pop them all up there now. Let's get that done. Another job. So I think I'll quickly get these in. I'll pick up a few things from the other shed, bring them down. Oh, there's a bird. There seems to be a bird stuck in a net here. Hold on. So I think if I'm trying to get him out, but if I lift up the net, hopefully he'll just find his way out, because every time I lift the net and try and shoo him across, he's panicking. So I've opened up the area. Hopefully he'll fly out now. So that's another good deed done. That's the issue about having those plastic nets on your beds. If they're not on tight, wildlife will get underneath looking for food and get stuck in there and then end up perishing. So make sure they're on tight, or remove them if you don't need them. Right, let's get to the plot. So this gentleman, Paul, he grows runner beans in this area every year, and this is just guinea pig bedding and some straw on top. And he has the most fantastic runner beans. That's all he does, is drops this down in after summer and leaves it to rot over, and the runner beans seems to love the guinea pig, you know, mess. I always smile entering this plot, because it's one of those little plots that's quite quirky, and Now with the paths that's bending around and the rhubarb's starting to come up already. God, this weather is crazy. So I popped in the shed, and it was sad that you didn't see the little video that I recorded for Christmas. And like always, remember the Christmas tree that I had last year, the tiny real Christmas tree that I popped in my shed? Well, it grew outside, and I left it outside. I didn't water it or feed it or nothing, but I have potted it up and give it a good feed now. But I popped some lights on it, and I'll show you now. So I just felt there was a bit of a tradition to do this because I did it last year, and it's doubled in size. So I'm hoping that this Christmas tree will become, you know, something that I'll use for the next couple of years on the plots. So while popping up to the other plot, I had these two in my hand ready to put in. And I remember I bought a pile more the other month, and they're starting to come up a little bit now as well. So I'm going to pop them in, and the issue is I haven't hoed the bed. So I'm going to dig them to the depth they need, cover them over, and then pop over again in the next couple of days, and I'll hoe quickly over before they start sprouting up. And that's the plan anyway. So I've got some tulips, alliums, daffodils, and also some hyacinths as well. So when the path bends around here, I'm planning on having them in this area like a bit of a border, and I think that'll just be a nice flush of colour as you enter the plot. Let's get them in. So just by luck, one of the plot holders had left his hoe out, so I'll pop it back around the side when I finish with it. So I'm going to use this quickly, and then at least that's done then before I put the bulbs in. So finally all the bulbs are in. I've got like Freesias, daffodils, tulips, there's so many things, crocus. I've added them all in now, and there was such a bunch. It's heavily bedded in here now. I planted it really, really well, and hopefully there'll be a massive flush of colour in the next few months, fingers crossed. Right, let's get back home, plant those onion seeds. Let's get that done, because then I'll feel like those two jobs that cannot wait any longer are done and ticked off. Also, one of the next jobs is going to be to recover the polytunnel, and I think you'll just give it a new lease of life. New tunnel, new doors, and yeah, this will be a nice big double door here, give it a nice bit of ventilation, and there will be a single door at the back. And yeah, I can't wait for this, and having loads of flowers at the front of here, I think. Or maybe even like a little potting area here, so that when the sun comes around, I can have some seedlings there outside, you know, getting ready to be planted out. And then this area, God, there's so many little projects to do. This is all planted up now. I've taken off a lot of the grass, but it'll come through, but I'll mulch it now once all this is bedded down. I've covered it over as best I can, but as you can see, it's a bog here. It's a bog, an absolute bog. And down this area I put all yellow tulips, daffodils and crocuses, and then a mix of crocuses down here. And in here there's like an array of colours, from purples, reds, pinks, yellows, whites, you name it is in there. So hopefully then when I enter the plot, this will be a canvas of colour ready before I go into the plot. And that's what I want. I want it to be somewhere where I enjoy being here as well, rather than just being bed after bed after bed after bed. So I got the luxury of having two. But let me show you something that I find really fascinating that someone's got on the plot, that they made themselves. Let me show you. They made an actual poly house. So it's got an actual apex roof on it, and that's been up for years as well, and there doesn't seem to be any problems with it. There's a few little holes in it that's been patched up over the years, but yeah, absolutely fantastic. I love it. I think it's so clever. It's got windows in it and everything. And that's one of the other things I love about having an allotment. You take so many ideas from other people and think like, I would never have thought of doing that. But I'm happy with what I've got. Right, next job. So I mentioned on a previous video that I'm going to put a pile of these barrels all down the other side of the polytunnel to collect rain off the roof. And I've taken that idea from Terry King's channel, and I'll adapt it a little bit to what I need, but I'll show you that in a future video. But Will over at the Flying Gardener, and go take a look at his channel as well, He's painted his barrels and he's colour coordinated to his shed, which I think is absolutely fantastic. It's like a nice cream colour. These just stick out to me too much, like a sore thumb. That's just my personal preference. So I think I'm going to paint a few of these, put them on the other side, and then I think it'll look a bit better. The garlic at the fig and olive plot seems to be coming up now. There's a couple of few gaps. That might have been me, but I don't know. So this one over here, I just basically made a trench and I just threw all the small garlics in. If you can see, they're all in a row. And I'm going to use them as green garlic, so I don't need to be, you know, spaced out as much. But these ones, they're spaced out a little bit better. And the onions, God, the onions are shooting up. This needs the weeds now. And it's looking well. The soil is beautiful in here. I'm happy with this so far. So this half of the bed that hasn't been sorted out yet, this is going to be the asparagus bed. So I'm going to put in about probably 10 crowns in here in the next few months. And then again, this will become another perennial crop for this plot. So earlier on I showed you the bird ball and also the bird box that I've got down on the other plot. They also do like a brick, so you can build them into walls and into your house if I've started a new build and you want to encourage bees. And like solitary bees, they don't hurt you, they don't sting you or nothing. They just come back and forth every year, and there's actually more solitary bees in the world than any other bee. So I'm really happy that they sent me a smaller one as well to go in my log stack, and I've got 3 of these that I'm going to put in a future build on my plot. So in the spring, stay tuned for that. So thank you so much, Green and Blue, for sending me these. I'll put a link in the description for these if you are interested in them, because they, you know, they'll last forever and they're built into things, and all you need to do is get a little wide brush, clean them out, and they're ready for the next year. I'm really happy with them. Right, so let's get this done. So I've got 4 trays here. I was planning only doing 3, but you know what it's like. You see other things. I've mixed up here a mixture of sifted compost, as sifted as I can, and 50-50 with vermiculite. That's to give a little bit of, keep a bit of moisture in, but also aerate that soil a little bit. So I'm just going to pop in a thin layer, because they're not going to stay in these seed trays long. These are more for starting the seeds off indoors, and then later on I will prick them out and pop them into these little trays. They're module trays, and these ones hold 12, and then I'll pop the lid back on, and these ones will stay over in the greenhouse and they'll carry on then going. So for now they're going into these trays. Hope I don't get too much soil everywhere. I feel like we only did this a few weeks ago, but it just goes so quick, doesn't it? Okay, so the 4 seed trays have been done. There's about 1 inch of compost and vermiculite mix. These ones are called Tough Ball. I bought these 3 when I was in Malvern. So if you do go to the Malvern Autumn Show or Spring Show, they always have DT Brown big massive stands, and these are only £1 a pack if you buy them at one of the shows. So these ones are Onion Tough Ball F1. And I'm going to use all the seeds because I'm planning on giving it to other people as well. So I'll just sew them thinly across the top. There's not that many in each packet. And then I must remember that this is Tough Ball because I have the labels are over there. And all I do then is sprinkle a fine layer of vermiculite over the top of the seeds. I've dampened this soil already, and there you go. That one's done. Push it down so that it makes contact with the soil and the vermiculite. And then what I'll do then is I'll use a spray bottle and I'll spray over the top just to keep it a little bit moist, but you don't want it going soaking wet because that's when they'll all dampen off and flop over and they'll be died. You know, they'll be died, they will be dead. So that's Tough Ball. I'll put the seed packets back in. The second one I'm going to do is Globo. This one's Globo Red Baron. So again, sprinkle the seeds over the top. I'm doing 2 red and 2 brown. And I'm going to put them all in, you know, because what I'll do is, and which is what I did last year, is whatever ones I've got left over, I'll give to other people. And if there are any left again then after that, I'll just plant them all, you know, quite densely, and I use them for spring onions. And that's a perfect way for using up your onion seedlings because they'll be pencil thin and perfect. So don't go too crazy on the vermiculite. You can just use a thin layer of compost if you haven't got vermiculite, but I happen to have it on hand, so that's those two done. Right, let's get these two done. The next one is Bedfordshire Champion. This is a globe onion, and again, a favourite of mine, and I think it's a favourite of a lot of people's. So just let's check how many's in it. Sprinkle them over, and it's as simple as that. Now, onion seeds, you know, they don't always all germinate. You don't need to put these in a propagator. I just put them on a windowsill like everyone else, and once they come up about 2 inches, they'll have like a crook end, so they'll just snap over, and that's called the crook stage. And then once that happens and snaps over, prick them out gently and pop them on, and it's as simple as that. And then once they get too big for these, I might pop them on into smaller pots as well. But you do have more of a success rate by doing it this way. And the last one that I didn't plan on doing, which is what I've just picked up from the store, is Carmen. Now, they're a red onion. Apparently there's a free label inside this one, which will be handy. Yes. So I'll take these off. So I'm doing 2 brown, 2 red, as I said. And I won't use them all, but it's nice to have, innit? Nice to have more than less. There we go. Little sprinkle over, just to cover them. And like I said, every couple of days I'll check on them. And God, look at the mess I'm making. And then all I do is pop this lid over the top, leave it vented open so that there's not too much moisture. And by using house temperature, these will fly away. Thank you again for watching. I'm Danny, and this is the Grapevine Garden.